changed my life and changed, I don't know, our life,
Definitely.
really. I look at life differently. So it's the best thing ever has happened. I would never want to change it with anything in the world.
Autism is a neurodevelopmental disability, which means it's affecting the way the brain develops, and that it starts in early development. And it affects social development, the ability to form social relationships, communication, but it's got this other unusual feature, which is that the child or adult gets very focused on particular topics, likes to go into things in much greater depth than the average person.
Basically, on the spectrum of autism, it's just, at the grassroots, a lack of social skills. It is such a big spectrum. Some people need a little bit of help, some people need a lot of help.
You can't see that there's something wrong with somebody with an autistic spectrum condition, can you? It's just how they are.
I had a box of matches, and I was going to count, to teach her to count 1, 2, 3. And as I got there, it just flung off my hand and just went all over the floor. And I just said, "Oh my God, I wonder how many is in there." And she just looked at us, 272. And I just said, okay, and we were in count, and it was exactly like that.
It is true that some people with autism do have remarkable gifts in areas like music or art or mathematics, but there are lots of people with autism who don't show those remarkable talents, but nevertheless there is something different about how they process information. It may just be that they notice things that other people miss.
Having the autistic spectrum condition makes me different from everyone else, but that isn't a bad thing.
Once you have a diagnosis and you can work through different parts of life and understand why things have working the way they've been working, it does make it a lot easier to understand it.
Well, of course it makes me different from other people, but to be honest, it doesn't really affect me anymore.
I think it does make me different to everybody else, yes, in a positive way, because when I found out that I was autistic, it was quite good in a different way to actually learn about the condition.
You have to think differently with an autistic child, and if they don't want to do something, there's a reason. It's not because they're misbehaving.
The brain is working differently, not better or worse, just differently, and we have to take that into account when we're thinking about things like employment or education.
There are very many advantages to having Asperger's syndrome. You can, in some respects, live a much more simple life compared to other people because you don't actually have the over-emotional side that other people have. So sometimes in a crisis, it's easier to solve it than it is for people who would have a lot of social and emotional things going on at the same time.
There are ups and downs in their life like anybody else, but ultimately we work for the benefit of the child, of Sarah.
Our son is on the autistic spectrum, and he's a wonderful child, full of love and affection, but slightly different to other children, maybe.
She plays guitar, she sings, she knows all the songs, she even sings opera sometimes.
Yeah, she sings
loves
about
music.
20 different areas of opera.
So she's very right.
She can capture classical music and tell you what it is as well.
So she's done that
very
way
well
now.
developed with respect. Plus she's a good skier as well, very fast skier. We can't keep up.
He's a placid, what I call a gentle giant. So I think his character's the best thing. His temperament, very good really, because you'd never row, never argue.
Because of the challenges, it means when your child does achieve something, it's enormously rewarding.
Oh, absolutely.
Neil actually is a gem. He's good fun. He's very interesting. He has a fantastic vocabulary. He's very good with grammar. But if you ask him to send an email to somebody, he's not quite sure what to put in. Sometimes he bombards you with questions and you think, oh, Neil, just go away for a few minutes. I've got something else I need to do. But best part of the time, it's a challenge, but I like a challenge.
Having Asperger's also makes me clever at things and makes me find it easier to solve maths problems. To get a scholarship to Royal Holloway, I actually had to do like a series of mini programs to solve different questions. I was the only person to get all the answers right, such that I was the only one to win the scholarship.
Advantage my condition, I am more perceptive of the world and the details that people don't see because they're too busy or too occupied with what else is going on around them.
I'm very organised at doing things. My Asperger's makes me very thorough. I have a good memory.
Having autism has been positive. Got very good memory.
I'm more focused on things than other people would be focused on, like facts and figures. When I say to somebody about a certain statistic, they're like, what?
My personal strengths are I like this. I'm good at listening to each other and listening to their opinions and working in a team.
I try not to worry about other people. I just try and do what I can in life. I'd like to help others overcome what I've been through.
I can recognise flags of the world. Even look at the picture and immediately identify what the flag is.
I've managed to win 2 kickboxing world titles and I have 5 medals in total from world championships. I don't believe that I would be a world champion in my sport if I didn't have Asperger's, and that's simply because of the traits that I have of attention to detail and analysing things. I would sit for hours analysing my videos to perfect my techniques and to perfect the things I was doing wrong in my fights.
One industry that seems to be very open to people with autism working there is the IT industry, but it's not the only one.
It's crucial that we have employees on the autism spectrum. We're an intellectual property company and it is all about people's minds. It's the minds that go into this intellectual property.
The people that are on the spectrum certainly, in my experience, make exceptional software engineers.
They just provide such brains into it and without them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
I have worked personally with a number of people on the spectrum who are quite brilliant and often able to look at problems and solve problems in ways that perhaps other people wouldn't. They have a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at things. So that really brings a lot of value to the business.
There are challenges to employing people on the spectrum. There's more management time, say HR time, not always, but in some cases, just because they do need some more coaching, mentoring and help. But what we get out is an amazing employee, can solve problems that maybe other people have been struggling on for a lot longer.
My job is a gardener. I've been helping my granddad since I could practically walk, and I spent many years walking around with him, looking at the nature. From there I went to college to learn how to do gardening.
In many ways I'm quite lucky with my work because I'm very interested in transport and in buses and trains and that kind of thing, and I have to admit I do really like timetables and buses, so it's quite good really to sit there and watch buses come in and out.
Often the employer wants someone with autism because of the business case. They recognise that the person with autism might actually be a better employee. They're willing to stick at a task for longer periods, do that task at a more perfectionist level, and maybe not waste their time whilst they're at work doing all the things that are not work related, like chatting.
I think the strength of having Asperger's syndrome is that you're very You have good attention to detail, makes you a very good employee. Any tasks which require learning are very easy to understand.
Autism Asperger's just doesn't fit with the classic disability, especially if you're dealing with someone like social services.
I don't think the support for autism is as good as it could or should be. People don't understand it, they don't see it, they don't pay for it, it's not there. Broken legs and physical, it gets attended much better, I think. That's how I see it anyhow.
We certainly need to increase awareness about autism for people in the general public. Once we accept that disability is part of our community, it means that whether we're talking about education or health services or employment or any other part of society, we need to make sure that people with disabilities can fit in just as easily as other people.
If I woke up tomorrow and didn't have Asperger's, I don't think I would know who I was. I think I might find it really difficult to adjust.
I wouldn't really be able to say I would want to change myself.
If I had the power to change who I am, I would keep the autistic spectrum condition, because it's who I am. If I didn't have it, I would be someone else. And I'm happy with who I am.
If I had the power to change who I am, and if I still have Asperger's, I'd say I would still have Asperger's, because this is who I am. I don't care who thinks of me any differently or otherwise. I like me. I like being who I am, and I'm proud of it.